And now,
hello and welcome along to another episode of PL Seasons to Remember. Today we are going to be talking about Chelsea and preferably talking about Jose Mourinho, about his two spells at Chelsea. And as ever, we are joined by Ryan Tatham, aka T, and Bob. Evening, fellas. Evening. So let's dive straight in. So Jose Mourinho came to Chelsea in 2004 after his heroics in the Champions League with Porto. Bob, so when Mourinho joined in 2004, the first press conference was quite famous now for him saying, I'm not arrogant, but I believe I'm a special one.
Yeah.
Do you, at that stage, believe he was a special one, or did you think he was just going to be maybe another manager to come in and maybe go straight out? What were your sort of thoughts on Mourinho?
I've got to be honest, because not to bring the podcast down, my dad was ill at the time, so I don't remember a ton, but I do obviously remember the first press conference.
Yeah.
But it was one of them, wasn't it, where it was quite, I think now it's quite infamous, isn't it, that interview, and I think he's actually been misquoted a lot, and people said the special one, which is not actually what he said, but, you know, it's one of them, innit, when you coin yourself a special one, it's going to come across a bit arrogant, and so... I don't know, I just thought it was quite cool. It was quite cool for school. I mean, being a Chelsea fan, we never won the league, so you don't think you're going to win the league, do you know what I mean? So, at the time anyway, more so now. But yeah, just thinking, he'd won European Cup, hadn't he? So yeah, pedigree. I mean, I think that's one of the problems with Ranieri. Ranieri wasn't, not to sound awful, because he has won the Premier League now, but he wasn't really, I don't feel like he was a winner. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He wasn't going to take us to that next level, and we needed someone else. And obviously, he was a bit of an unknown commodity, wasn't he? I mean, I think the thing people probably remember most is Porto knocking out Man United. Not actually, more so than winning the Champions League, I would say, because that were quite famous when it ran that touchline and stuff. So, I don't know, it was quite fun to see him come in. I mean, at the time, he wasn't the miserable git that he is now, was he? So, get that out
there. See, what did you think to Mourinho's first press conference, and how did you think he was going to get on at Chelsea?
I can't remember taking too much notice of it, to be honest. I think
podcast.
No, I think obviously, like Bob said, it became like on the radar of Premier League fans when he had that game against Man United and ran down the touchline and stuff, and that were like that.
Yeah.
I remember watching that game, and it made you sort of sit up and think he's got a bit of character about him, a bit of sort of arrogance to do that at Old Trafford, and then go on to win it. So then when they got him, and obviously it were at the time when they were, undergoing that revolution of getting all these players in, and it were all in the news and everything about that they'd been taken over by a Russian billionaire and everything. So it was all sort of like piecing together for him, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of thought it was. He had some kind of a charm in a lot of the. He had some sort of charm. I thought he had a bit of charm when he first came.
I called him a chum at first.
I think he had a bit of a charm about him. I think he was.
Yeah.
He looked so young when he first came.
Yeah.
A lot of women. I like Mourinho, at the time. Maybe not for now, but yeah, a lot of women were like swooning over it.
He was quite young. I think he wasn't that old when he took over Chelsea. I think he was still quoted as quite a young manager, was he, at the time as well? It wasn't.
Yeah.
Was he? And sort of coming with the reputation of winning the Champions League and sort of coming to a team that hadn't really won much.
Yeah.
Won a few cuts, but to come in. And also, I said with Roman Abramovich looking on, saying, right, I'm going to give you the tools now, and I'm going to give you the money. You go out and see what you can do. And I think
we're on a barren few years then, because 2000, what last time we went out before then? If you include Community Shield, but let's say the FA Cup. Mourinho didn't include it, but I do.
But yeah,
remember,
I think
that's not funny, Dougie said. So I remember saying to your dad, I was round at yours when Arsenal lifted the Premier League, and I said, keep it nice and shiny for us. So I must have had some kind of inclination, but I didn't obviously want me to messing about that. Obviously, that's to your dad.
But yeah, I think you come in with a. I think the arrogance, I think, was quite new, because I think in the Premier League there wasn't that arrogance then. So I think he brought that that in as well. So looking on, they started off the season with a win at home to Man United, which is a big statement in itself to take on Fergie for the first time. And I think it finished 1-0. I think Idigo Johnson scored.
Yeah, it was 1-0. Yeah.
So that's the perfect start for Mourinho. But they got better as the season went on that season. Bob, do you sort of think looking back now, so the Arsenal untouchable team, Invincible, so untouchable as well. And then, that they were coming again, see if they could again, big hype on them.
Yeah.
Going. And Mourinho coming and a right old goal and winning a League Cup.
How's he gone? He paused it. Are you back?
Sorry. Technical difficulty. I don't know what happened there. I just went off. Yes, like I said, Bobby won his first trophy in Cardiff against Liverpool. Do you remember that final quite well?
Yeah, I remember watching it with you. We were quite fortunate, to be honest, because Gerrard helped us out and then he did the whole got sent off. It's funny because when I think we started off the season, we'd had quite a few clean sheets, but we'd drawn a couple of games. We hadn't won all those games, and it were almost like you say, they got better as the season went on. I do think that cup was important. I'm not saying we wouldn't have won the league if we hadn't won the cup, but I think that cup gave the players the belief. It's like when you look years later at City when they won that FA Cup. I think you need to win that first trophy, don't you, to get that confidence and stuff. So, I mean, we were quite fortunate in that final in terms of we scored very late and stuff. But I remember it quite well because I think you watched it with me, didn't you? I didn't watch it at our house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, because Reece scored very early on.
Yeah, it was like a few minutes in, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah.
You know, one of them. I don't think Liverpool were dominating to the point where we're getting battered, but we were fortunate to get a very late goal. Is probably what I'd say. In fact, I remember Joe Cole going mad at the ref for not playing on, but we actually scored from that free kick. Which, when I say scored, Gerrard scored for us. But it was just one of them. I mean, of all the players scoring on goals, so you want you knew Jamie Carragher in it. No, it was an important trophy, and I think we went 3-1 up in extra time, and then Liverpool pulled one back there. And I knew when we equalised, we were going to win. I just had that. I kind of had what's that? Yeah.
One of them players that came and went as quick as he came, really.
But Kezman scored in that game, so it tells you everything you need to know.
T, do you remember that final, Tom?
I remember watching it. Yeah. Just as you're talking about it, then some sort of memories have come back from it, but that's one of those I want to watch back actually, because I've not actually seen it obviously since it were on and since that were around. But I do remember the sort of outcry of Gerrard's own goal and everything, and I think that's what's that? Sorry,
it's not to shout about.
Yeah, but I know that's something that he looks back on and still today. I think he talks about that being one of his lowest points in his career.
It seems doesn't it?
So but I think going back to what you said about how they sort of started the season and how they sort of developed, then it just sort of earned the respect straight away, with that win against Man United, and it just seemed that they got a lot of those 1-0 wins where they just got over the line, and in the end, that's what you want as to be champions, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
So as the season went on, I think they went to Old Trafford and Thiago scoring an absolute pearler at Old Trafford.
Yeah. We'd already won league by then as well.
Yeah. So going on to the actual title-winning day, Bob. So away at Bolton, which was an absolutely massive game in the history of Chelsea Football Club, and one of its most loyal servants in Lampard scoring 2 goals that afternoon. What's your memory of that particular game? How did you feel leading up to that game? if you can remember.
I can't really remember. I remember watching it on Match of the Day and being quite excited because I knew what result, obviously. But Lampard had pretty much the whole team that day. The team played poorly and Lampard just grabbed game and just won it. But it was quite exciting winning the first title because I remember watching I actually remember the week after more when we beat Charlton when they had the celebrations. That was more of an exciting day in some ways because they got the trophy and stuff, and Makelele missing that penalty and scoring rebound. And I think there were like a few minutes left in game and all players just fouled him and everyone just stopped playing after that. It was a bit weird looking back on it, but was Dougie frozen again? He froze again then.
Had a tremendous home record for Chelsea in that first season.
Yeah.
A tremendous home record. It was one of them where did you sort of think that'll come to an end during the season, but it didn't. Did it just kept going?
No. I think that was something that Mourinho started off, and then he built on it. And then if you look back now, then that was one of his major successes at Chelsea were built around that home record. It was almost like when you went there as an away team, he had that sort of aura about him that they wouldn't get beat there. And I'm going to guess it ended up being 70 odd games at home. Something like that. I don't know if that's right.
I think it might have been in the 80s, but yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that were I think it didn't that home record sort of continue on, and then like Mourinho when he took over again, that was like the first time he actually got that defeat.
He had his own home record.
Yeah.
With us,
that's what I mean. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Is that what I thought you meant? Because we had this. An unbeaten record for like 4 seasons or something. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, because then it was like so he didn't get beaten his first spell, but then in his second spell it wasn't until that Sunderland game were it for like Mourinho getting beat at home.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like he had that aura about him. And I think it were a major part of their success.
I just sort of think looking at Chelsea back then and looking at the Mourinho's style, I like now he's known as sort of a park the bus sort of manager.
Yeah.
But I didn't really see that in that first 2 seasons.
You know why?
Like that.
Sorry? You know why? Because he played Makelele and then Lampard and it was Good Johnson or Thiago, and then next season it was Essien. Had free reign to go, whereas when he came back, he started playing 2 holding midfielders, which I think he did at Real Madrid. Because I was talking about it in some of our previous podcasts about how they used to have a 4-3-3 and then you sort of got a 4-2 like 1-3 type scenario, and I think that's when things change. Yeah,
all goes with like how football changes, doesn't it? So like, he's had to, like we always talk about managers having to adapt to sort of different eras and stuff, and I think that's an example of, and maybe part of it is that I think that was something that got attributed to Mourinho when we'd seen him for a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
So him coming, even if he was doing a bit of that, and obviously we're bringing success with the way, they were keeping so many clean sheets and everything.
Yeah.
I think because it were a new team who were sort of up there, no one really sort of batted an eyelid about it. Early on.
I think the first season we kind of got away with a bit more because I think when you're first coming in, like Liverpool will probably find this next season where teams try a bit harder against you when you're champions. I don't know what it is. You think they try harder as the season goes on, but it usually happens the season after. And But I think the thing that people probably don't get credit for is that team didn't concede a lot of goals because they were so well organised. I mean, the best example for me is actually a goal we conceded against Barcelona when Ronaldinho scored because not one player is in the wrong position. It's just an unbelievable goal, But they were always kind of like. Because for sure, like you had like Carvalho and Gallas and Terry, and he could rotate them in. I mean, Gallas ended up playing left back because Bridge got badly used and stuff. But it was just an absolute machine of a team. I think for one of the best teams I've ever seen. I don't kind of think we're getting enough credit that team actually now. I mean, I know his points record got broken, but I kind of feel like football, like you say, football's changed now as well. But we just absolutely like dominated after Christmas. We just went on and nobody could get near us. I mean. I do think with Arsenal though, I think they would have pushed us close. I do think that Man United defeat had more of I think it had a bit of a psychological effect on them as well as like. Do you know what I mean? It was almost like
they all lost their heads. Like if you look at that follow-up game at Highbury, which they lost. I mean, like obviously that we've all heard it before that in the tunnel and everything they were all riled up and ready for it, and that were almost like Man United getting in their heads in that first game when they sort of kicked them off the park.
And they almost they couldn't until they played Man United again. It was almost like still on their minds a bit because I remember them drawing that 1-0 with Palace and stuff, and you're like, they would have season before they would have destroyed Palace.
Yeah,
it was just one of the. But again, it's so hard to retain a title, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I think people underestimate how hard it actually is. I mean, look at Man U when they did 3 in a row like 3 times or whatever. That's unbelievable to do that.
Yeah,
2 in a row is hard. So
it's having the motivation, isn't it, to like come back the season after and
hunger
and do it all again. But Chelsea lost only 1 game that season.
Yeah.
I've got some stats
Do you know
up
it
here.
was again?
I don't actually know.
Man City away.
Oh, were it?
Do you know who scored?
No.
Anelka penalty.
Really?
And I remember we were battered them in that game, but they just beat us. It was one of them.
You can't really games.
Couldn't get the goal. Yeah, I think we hit the post in the bar, and David James played like best game he's ever played his entire life and stuff like that. That's what happens, doesn't it? When you lose games, it's suddenly like like players like who aren't that good turn into Zidane and stuff like
that. Yeah.
So that season, they were sort of the Blitz pretty much blew everybody away in the Premier League. But then we come on to the Champions League. So
he's been waiting for this, hasn't he? Look at him.
so if you think about it, so technically we're going to talk about the semi-final because first off, quarter-final. So the quarter-final was Arsenal and Chelsea. So they were saying
that
was season
before.
We got knocked out by Bayern this year.
Sorry, yeah. Yeah, gosh, yeah, sorry. I don't know why that came to me. Sorry. So, yeah.
Another Dougie mistake from the scrapbook.
Even the best get it wrong.
Couldn't pay.
So, let's talk about the semi-final then. So, Chelsea, Liverpool.
The teams we knocked out, but we knocked out Barcelona, we knocked out Bayern Munich, and then we got Liverpool.
That Barcelona game were massive.
Oh, brilliant!
I remember it was just Titanic tussle, wasn't
it? But Liverpool, we beat them 3 times that season, so you obviously go in thinking you're gonna beat them. But I remember our Dan saying to me, "You'll always lose one if you play them that many times in a season," and it's stuck in my head that.
Yeah. Because the first game was 0 at the Bridge. The first game was 0-0 at the Bridge, and I remember it quite well because it wasn't a very
classic
game. It wasn't a very good game at all, which tend to be Mourinho versus Benitez battles tend to be not
honest,
very.
Do you think
very tactical? Yeah.
Those games that season would beat you 1-0 both times in the league. They weren't great matches. The League Cup final was pretty good, but it was only good when it went to extra time. Really, it was kind of a bit of a boring game. So I think you're right. I think it was probably the tactical battle, and Benitez and Mourinho kind of can be a bit boring at times, can't they? Not to not to kind of crap on my own manager and stuff, but at times. But I think
they were right. They both wanted to win the game their own way, and I think they didn't want to give the other manager an edge. And I think looking at the semi-final at Anfield, the win by literally the slightest of margins. Of literally all that, we'll never know if it crossed line or it did cross line. I don't think it's actually ever had actual evidence that it actually ever.
It's like another one of those. What we were talking about the other night, and it's like they don't seem to have any angles from back then.
No, because we're about the Champions League final, weren't we?
Yeah.
I've got a different perspective of what Chelsea fans like. A lot of Chelsea fans moan about it, but Czech would have been off, and for me, I would rather have played the rest of the game with 11 men than to have 10 men. End of the day.
It's like what we said. Yeah.
Yeah. The referee gave the goal, and he probably did as a favour. I reckon he probably knew it went over, and he tried to do as a favour and did the game a favour. Maybe what the other referee should have done in the Champions League final year after, as we were saying, but he probably just did the game a favour and thought, well, I'll give the goal and I don't have to send him off.
I think plus Chelsea really was still only needed 1 goal, so it wasn't. They were handicapped. They only still needed to play and score 1 goal. I think.
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
The semi-final of the whole was that the semi-final was really good. That particular leg, not just because Liverpool won, but just in the case of Chelsea had to come out because it was
Good
quite
Johnson
early.
at the end.
Yeah.
Nearly scores, didn't
They had
he?
to come out
I
and
remember you crapped yourself. I remember you were watching it at our house.
because it came close. They were literally like that away from going to the final. Do you remember the semi-final at all?
Only vaguely, really, mate. I remember obviously all the uproar about Luis Garcia's ghost goal, and I just remember the reactions of the Chelsea players, and they're just like, especially Gallas, because they were the one who clears it off the line, weren't they?
Yeah.
Just again, like you said about are you recalling the game there? It all seems like I'm sort of listening in, like I've never seen it before, because it's that far back, and it's
15
like,
years.
you know, these sort of like semi-finals, quarter-finals, they
Yeah.
sort of sometimes just go back to your memory back, and it's only when like someone starts talking about it again, things keep flooding back. But I can't remember too much about the game other than that goal, actually, really.
That I remember the Good Johnson missing that. That's about. I mean, end of the day, right? I sort of look back at it now and I think, like, look, we'd won the league. We'd won the league. You know, it would have been nice to have gone on to win the Champions League, and maybe we would have done it. We'll never know. But
yeah,
it's like you kind of got sometimes to think, well, it was just their time to win it, wasn't it? And I remember I was actually quite chuffed for you afterwards, because I remember you were quite at the time weren't having a great time in the league, were you? I remember thinking, I'm quite pleased for you.
They finished fifth that season. They finished
But
fifth.
I think that's what kick-started the whole Chelsea-Liverpool, like, real hatred, that. Which
Yeah.
I think, in a way, it's good because it did that, and they kind of need those rivalries, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
I don't think a
Moments
lot
that
of the
you can look back
Chelsea-Liverpool games lived up to the hype line.
No. Except for the 4-4.
Record.
Yeah, God.
Benitez had an absolutely terrible record against Mourinho for Chelsea. I know he did well in the Champions League, but League.
Yeah. No, that's true, actually, yeah. I think he only beat him in League One or something, but he'd won a couple, obviously there was the FA Cup the year after as well and stuff. He had a few, like, semi-final wins over him, but...
So,
happens,
is there anything else you want to add to that? I mean, anything you got anything for Bob you want to add to that before we move on to season after? Or?
Yeah, just on that season, I thought it'd just be, like Bob was saying, that Chelsea don't tend to get as much credit as really they should have done for that season. And one thing I just wanted to point out is that they've still got the record for fewest goals conceded in a season, and it is 15 from that season. Which if you think about it, 15 goals is unbelievable. You know what I mean? It's like
games,
it's outrageous. So you have to maybe because of Mourinho's style of play, maybe people don't look back with that much fondness. I don't know if that's it, but you've got to appreciate different ways of playing the game and getting results at the end of the day, and what he did worked, and it worked really well. So
I know when we played Robin, we were brilliant to watch when he played, because he was like, I think when we had Robin and Duff playing, but I think when Robin wasn't playing, that's when we had a lot of our 1-0s and stuff.
Yeah.
Back then, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So moving to the next season. So again, Chelsea come in as holders of the Premier League, and I said Arsenal then having their last season at Highbury, and
which we did last episode,
exactly. And
don't be singing again, Bob.
You can watch it on Highbury. Oh no, sorry, it's Highbury High, isn't it? I got it wrong.
So Chelsea now the team to beat now in the Premier League. Bob, going into that season, did you sort of think, was it just maybe a one season wonder, or could Chelsea do it again?
Yeah, and I thought we're going to win league again this season. I wanted to do the double though. I really wanted to do the double, which we didn't do that season, but did later. But I just knew going in. It's going to sound stupid, right? And you might not believe me, but every time we've won the league, I've known before the season, I thought we're going to win the league next season. I don't, apart from when Conte won it, because that year I was just like, well, what the hell happened there? But like in 14-15, which we'll get on, I thought we're going to win the League Cup and the league, and we did. And it's weird. I should have thought about it now, actually thinking back now, but every season we've won it, and like the Ancelotti season, I've known we're going to win it. And that season, I thought we're going to win title this year. And then with the season after, I had doubts. and then we didn't win it, and then it's like, yeah, it's weird that. But I just knew, and I want arrogance or cockiness. It's just a feeling you get sometimes, isn't it? I mean, like, if I'd have thought it the second year under Conte, I'd have got a right shock winner that year. I finished like 10th or whatever it was. But I just knew. I knew we were going to. I mean, I remember at first day against Wigan, I don't know if you were going to come on to that, but they absolutely battered us that day. I think we got a bit of a shock because we sort of came out thinking we were going to blitz them, and they were well up for it. And yeah. Oh no, Wigan at the end. But when that goal went in, that's when I had no doubts. I thought we're definitely going to win the league this year. Just a feeling.
Taven, what were your recollection of the youth? Again, Bob was very confident on Chelsea. We're going to go and do it again. Were you sort of in that same mindset as well, or were you sort of thinking, maybe this time they're not going to do as well?
Well, I think looking back, I think I agree with Bob that I probably would have picked, if I had to pick a team to be champions, it probably would have been Chelsea again. And like we've talked about on previous episodes, Arsenal were at the start of a transition.
Yeah.
And they started to lose key players.
Yeah.
Man United hadn't won the title for quite a while. Well, if you fit for Man United, they've not won it since 2003. Yeah. So they were undergoing quite a long way, and they didn't seem like they were getting, and obviously they're always there or thereabouts, but they didn't seem to be at the same level as Chelsea is what I'm getting at. And you don't win the league with 95 points by fluke the year before and then just go off the boil. Obviously, what we've talked about as well before about on the money one, they had that financial backing, so they weren't just going to stand still. They were going to build on, and that's what they did. They brought more players, and I can't remember who they brought in that year. But
Phillips, SEN. In fact, you know what? One of the most important things to me, we brought Crespo back off loan. Crespo was brilliant that season as well. I think people kind of forget. So we kind of had Drogba and Crespo, which Drogba at the time wasn't. I think he only got like 16 goals that season. He became like a better player the year after, but when you had those two, and it's like Lampard banging in, 20-odd goals a season. And I just knew we were going to win it again. And I think, well, obviously, I won't say it until we get to next season, but I think that season we had the best squad. And I think what happened is, you talked about Man United, because they obviously bounced back and won 3 in a row after not winning for 3 years. But they kind of fixed their issues, and I think we kind of had some going. Yeah. And it's like injuries, we were so lucky with injuries for 2 years. Apart from Robin, who used to be injured every week. But we were, for 2 years, we had no, so say when Duff got injured, we had Robin, and then when Robin we had Joe Cullen, we had Sean Wright-Phillips. And Sean Wright-Phillips, I know he wasn't brilliant for us, but he was still a good player, wasn't he? You know what I mean? We just had
a good squad, I remember,
I remember playing against Everton, and I remember you turning once, Dougie, and saying, who else can bring on Good Johnson off the bench? And we could do stuff like that, and it's like...
That's right, always says that, Dougie. It's one of his lines.
But no, I mean, I think we were just at the peak of our powers then, weren't we? So... But yeah, we just had the best. We had the best squad going in, and we didn't have many injuries. Did you?
I'm going to say earlier when I was talking about Gerrard recollecting his memories, I thought I better not say soccer box.
Well, I can advertise it for Gary Neville's soccer box. I'm taping the Rooney one, actually. Rooney one's on this week. So I just randomly go off on a tangent.
I'm sure if we come on to a Man United one, Taven will have it all ready.
I'm talking about. Can't wait to do the Robbie Keane episode.
Taven box. So that season, Bob, Arsenal, Chelsea went to Arsenal and pretty much sort of knocked Arsenal out of the title race. I remember watching it with you.
Yeah, I think they were out of it anyway, to be honest.
In the last
put the nail in the
Arsenal podcast. TCM, the Arsenal podcast, that you could see the difference between Arsenal and Chelsea. Everyone was sort of stood still, really.
Yeah.
Would you say that was the time when you really thought, actually, I think we are going to actually do it this year? Because to sort of go and beat Arsenal at home, I mean, then you sort of beat us that same season 4-1 at Anfield.
Yeah, well,
So,
I
do you
have to
know,
talk about that, yeah, because I remember...
really big wins away from home for Chelsea.
Yeah, sorry, not to kind of have a drag on Liverpool here, but I remember the Liverpool were very cocky about beating us. Like not you personally, Dougie, but even in the papers they were like talking about how they had the measure of us because the draw 0-0 was in Champions League, which I didn't get.
Yeah.
But I think they did think they could. I think they thought they had something over us, and I think we kind of didn't. We didn't say anything and like hammered them, and that was a big day. And the Arsenal one, like you said, Taven one last one, like how you could see the difference, couldn't you? In like the I already by then I knew we were going to win the league. I remember going because I actually went to watch Man United Chelsea that year when Man United beat us 1-0, which were awful. Going to see that, but I remember thinking even then I wasn't worried. I thought we'll still win league. It was just there wasn't any moments of doubt in the season. I can't explain it. And like I say, it wasn't cockiness. I just knew we were going to win a league. I think the biggest shock I got that season was when we got beat 3-0 by Middlesbrough. But Middlesbrough did everyone that year.
Yeah.
Liverpool. So I think they did Man U, Chelsea and Arsenal, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
And I think they got to the UEFA Cup final, didn't they, that year? Was that the same year?
I think so, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sevilla.
They kept coming back in second legs, didn't they, winning 4-1 and stuff.
Sevilla won
that
it
was... I had a bit of superstition. I used to wear my Chelsea shirt every time they played, and I didn't wear it that day when they got beat by Borough, and I was convinced.
I was used to do that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was glad in a way because I thought, right, because I wanted to stop wearing it because I felt like I had to wear. You know, when you get like panicky, it's stupid, innit? You know what about now?
Stupid.
But you honestly thought you could you could make a difference, didn't you, to results? But yeah, there were some massive wins that season, and like you said, I think we beat Spurs twice that season as well. Yeah, I think we did, didn't we? I think the only big game we lost was Man U away, if I remember correctly. I think we dropped silly points to like Fulham and Borough, and I don't remember. We got a few. I know we lost a couple of games after we'd won the title, but I think by then they were on the roll.
Yeah, they dazed off a bit.
yeah, getting ready for World Cup.
T, you got anything to add to that, or anything to Bob at all?
Well, they only were 4 points off their total like the year before, but they did lose like 5 games in total. Yeah. So, like you say, probably the one, the Man United, Middlesbrough, and then maybe the ones after they'd secured the title and everything. But yeah, I think I remember that season, like we talked about before. Early in the season, they played Arsenal, didn't they? And that's like a big game early. Drogba got that lucky goal, didn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah,
funny
it sort of just set
he'd missed the sitter just before it, and some fan gave him a stick. So he went over and had a go at him, and I'm thinking, you can't really have a go at him. You can't have a go at him when it comes off your shin.
Yeah. So it's like, I think winning that game early, it sort of set the tone, didn't it? That, that's why it felt like for me.
It was one of them games.
Yeah.
0-0, wasn't it? Yeah.
But then, so I just think it was just a continuation, and I think they've just secured their spot at the sort of at the top and has been a regular contender as they have been, since then. Really, yeah.
Winning it at home to Man United, that was good. That was a good day. We'd lost the FA Cup semi-final the week before to Liverpool.
Oh, I remember that. Is that when Rooney did his metatarsal, wasn't it?
Yeah, which I was actually proper gutted about because he were on fire that day, and I thought, and I remember talking to a mate at work, and he's like, "Why are you bothered about Rooney?" I'm like, "Because at World Cup, I support England, not just Chelsea." That kind of did put a little bit of a damper on that day for a bit.
Yeah,
those moments happened, but then I got over it as soon as whistle went. And
quite interesting actually, because they showed the full game on the Premier League Retro on Sky. The Chelsea Man United game. So actually, funny if I actually sat and watched that other week, and we'd talk about Rooney doing his metatarsal, and I think all Chelsea fans were celebrating that Rooney got flattened. But then when they found out Rooney, they all went,
"Yeah, it's just lit."
Silent.
Yeah.
That's his hopes.
And you saw like Terry and Lampard talking. I think they were thinking, "Oh God, that's not good."
And I cannot remember for the life of me who did it.
Paulo Ferreira. He doesn't do anything to him. It's the weird. If you watch it, it's almost like he does it to. I don't even know how it. You watch it, he doesn't look like he does anything. It looks like he just gets tackled, and I don't know how Rooney's toe must have just bent. I don't know how it happened. It was such a freak injury. I mean, I don't want to kind of say we'd have won World Cup if he hadn't got injured, but I think we'd have played a damn sight better because I think when he came back, I know it's obviously the Wayne Rooney podcast, but I think when he actually came back to playing it, because he'd been rushed on it to get fit in those oxygen things. I don't think he were right.
Yeah.
And I think he lost fitness and stuff, and that was a massive blow for us. That I think we'd have done somewhat better in World Cup if not for that. I'd like to think so, anyway.
So, Bob, in the Champions League that year, I thought I had it wrote down who they actually went out to in the Champions League
Barcelona.
That year. Was that the one with? Is that the first time Messi played against Barcelona?
Yeah, that's the day I decided I hated Lionel Messi. Yeah.
What were your recollections?
I can't really remember that one.
Games?
That season.
Yeah.
The first game at Stamford Bridge was brilliant, and we scored with 10 men, and I thought we were going to win, but obviously we didn't. We got bit. Henrik Larsson, who James mentioned last week, he came on and changed the game, which obviously not the only time he's done it. But I remember when we went out there, we were awful out there, and we got Ronaldinho scored one of the best goals I've ever seen. He took it round to all our players and just smashed it in. And we actually got a penalty at the end, and it wasn't a penalty really. We got a draw. But we could still say that 11v11 thing to him because I didn't like that. They didn't like playing against us. They had a bit of a. I think they had. I don't want to say the feared us, but I think they did a little bit at the same time. It's like there's something.
I think it was just Marie. That was like the whole thing. That one of the qualities Mourinho had that he was able to sort of unsettle the opposition, wasn't he? And I think he really did that with Barcelona, whether it's his antics on, I know that first game, they're all that about him hiding in a
laundry basket
and whatever. But it's stuff like that, and it's like getting under the skin. And Barcelona, they don't like out like that, do they? So I think you're right there.
But Messi got Del Horno sent off, and I remember I was effing fuming at the time, and I think we did. I don't want to say we got robbed against them worse a lot later, a couple of years later, but I think we got robbed of a chance to do something that night. But at the same time, over two legs, they deserve to go through, so I can't really argue with it. It's like when we lost to Liverpool in FA Cup. Liverpool deserved to beat us. They were better for 60 minutes, and we were better for 30. It's just balance of play, innit?
Between Mourinho and Barcelona, I think it was a season before where he accused the ref and Frank Rijkaard the boots because they had a conversation in the referee's room. He was at it, and he was.
Isn't that what got him banned actually?
What? Sorry,
that's what got him banned for the
game, big fine.
Yeah.
But he got I think some of it got rescinded, so he didn't pay the full amount. I think they sort of rescinded it a little bit. I don't know how he got it rescinded, but he did.
Talk to referee.
So that season, Bob, the final day when they won the league and beat Man United on the final day, they were brilliant that day. Chelsea.
They won the final day. It was 3 weeks before final.
Well, I just mean that the final day to win. It was
our final day. I don't think they played after that.
To literally batter Man United for the entire.
Yeah, I remember the Joe Cole goal.
Yeah, I was going to say the Joe Cole.
Yeah. Well, we scored after 5 minutes, I think. William Gallas scored it. The big key moment in that was Lampard smashed Ronaldo, and I think Ronaldo didn't fancy it. Ronaldo back then, if he used to smash him, he didn't like it. I mean, years later he'd kick him, he'd just carry on running. But I think at the time he was still a bit in that wobbly phase, and Lampard smashed him, and I think he didn't fancy it after that. And I think that was a tactic because I think at Old Trafford he played really well against us. But like I say, we were just a better team on day, weren't we? But I think I knew after that game I wasn't going to win the title the year after, because you could tell Man U were. I think Man U thought they were going to beat us that day. I think they came in a bit overconfident, and that's when you get surprised, don't you? You go in thinking, and then you get beat. Because I was thinking, I know this is obviously not talking about live football, but people keep writing Arsenal off against Man City tomorrow. But I'm like, well, you're writing them off. You're just taking all pressure off of them, putting it all on Man City. So I mean, I'm just saving you, mate. I don't know if you're worried or not, but I just think
I'm used to it now, mate. So I don't get worried anymore.
But football's like that. I think when you obviously bookies have got favourites and stuff. I think when you go into a game, there's a lot of that now, isn't there, where teams get written off, and you shouldn't write anyone off really, because you just don't know what can happen. Like Watford beating Liverpool, breaking there. You just wouldn't have expected it of all the teams. No. You'd have thought you thought it would have been someone of a Man U or a Chelsea or an Arsenal or somebody, but it ended up being Watford. I'm not having to make Dougie. I'm just being serious about football. It's crazy, isn't it?
It is. But I think you would. I like you say. I think when the pressure's on, when the pressure's off teams, it makes it more. They can play with a bit of freedom.
Yeah, and don't you think sometimes you get a bit wound up when the players must pick up papers, like and must be thinking, oh, look at them writing this off, and they must get their backs up as well.
Yeah, I think that definitely happens. I remember this going on the tangent a little bit, but just on that point, I remember a couple of seasons ago when we beat Spurs 4-2 at Emirates, and before the game, I think a newspaper pundit had done one of those stupid combined 11s, which I hate.
Oh, yeah, I hate that. They're awful, aren't
they? and shock. To no shock to it put 11 Tottenham players in.
Oh,
didn't surprise me.
Yeah.
What's that? Tim Sherwood. That's who it was.
No, he did it, but there was someone in a newspaper who'd done it as well, right?
Oh, okay.
So after the game, the Arsenal Twitter account posted a GIF of Ozil sipping tea to this journalist. They replied to his tweet showing these 11 Tottenham players with that GIF, and I think he started throwing toys at him because he went, "Oh, you were not, all obviously when a football club comments on that, you get all their followers coming and giving him grief." And I think he didn't like it that a professional club had done that, but I sort of thought it deserved it a little bit. But that shows you that that football clubs and players and everything do look at that stuff, don't they?
Yeah. And again, obviously, I'm not saying we were major underdogs against Man United, but Man U, they were playing better than us, and we were we were wobbling a little bit, and I think they knew.
Yeah.
But just on that subject, Borough that year when they beat us 3-0. Steve McLaren said, somebody's got to beat them, why not us? And he was quite confident going in. I think they must have got their backs up because I bet papers were thinking would win 5, 6, 7 or whatever,
And it's that thing again about playing champions, isn't it? Like you said.
Yeah. You want to beat the champions, don't you? So. But no, back-to-back titles is brilliant. I think, to have done it, it was amazing. And I think I kind of look on that season a bit more fonder than the season before, and I think because obviously I was talking about my dad and stuff that were all still on my mind the season. Where that season it was almost like I got to just enjoy it.
Yeah,
apart from when Wigan were battering us and we ended up going away. I was watching it thinking, what's going
on? So Chelsea went on, and as I said, won a second Premier League title. So then we sort of go into the third season where it just wasn't quite right, was it?
Yeah,
I think
Mourinho
just wasn't quite right. I think his love affair with the press were slowly but surely fading as well. I think because the press used to love Mourinho, and I think.
But don't you think that's a bit of that thing as well, where it'll happen at Liverpool when you get good, they want to tear you down, then don't they? They want to big you up. And then I want to tell you that. And I think it happened the season before a bit, to be honest. And I think it just got worse. And Mourinho, because he can't keep his mouth shut as well, probably made it worse for himself. So
yeah.
But yeah, it was not
a little spat with Arsene Wenger, but sort of went on.
Well, when did they have a spat?
When he got a lot further when he came back. But we'll so just before we speak about that,
we're not going to talk about his Swan press conference. That was funny.
What's that? Sorry?
It was more scared at bird flu when he was a football. But that's kind of how he was when he was quite charming, wasn't he? And then that didn't come back with him, that unfortunately. But
no.
That charm.
When he started to go grey, I think he started to lose his
powers.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He wasn't at the peak of his powers then, what do But do you think as well though, even if you hated him then, you probably still would have laughed watching him, wouldn't you? Whereas years later when you hated him, you probably just thought, shut up.
I don't know. I've always hated him, Bob.
I'm sure we'll come on to T's love affair with Mourinho as this.
I'm sure we'll come on to my love affair ending with Mourinho as well. At the end of the podcast.
Yeah. Just to start, look on the first spell. So I've just got some notes.
Are we not talking about this third season then?
Yeah. I'm just saying that the good thing about this is first.
Oh, right. I'm going to skip it. I quite enjoyed the third season.
It's 100 played 185 games, won 124, drew 40, and only lost 21 with a win percentage of 67%, which is quite incredible.
That is incredible, actually.
For 2.5 seasons.
Yeah, that's mad.
He was gone. So yeah, Bob. So straight into the first.
No, he went in his 4th season.
Huh? I thought he only did 3 years.
No, he did 3.
Yeah, with the 4th, wasn't
it? The 3rd season, we won the League Cup and the FA Cup.
Oh,
yeah.
The 2nd.
Fair enough.
He's done your research, Dougie. He thought he remembered it all.
Is that another mistake?
I always. There's probably not a lot to talk about the 3rd season, to be honest, but I think if you're gonna not win the league, winning the League Cup and the FA Cup's a pretty good.
Yeah.
Like a bit of good like runners-up prize, you know.
I don't even remember. To be honest with you, honestly,
when we beat Man United in final, that terrible final that you were talking about.
Yeah. I know what you mean, Doug, because it seems like when he did it, if you think back, it's almost like you feel like he went in that 3rd season because he didn't win it. But
yeah,
I know
right,
now you've said it, Bob. It's like it was the season after, wasn't it? I think
what he always says, his favourite moment was winning the FA Cup because he grew up watching it. So
yeah, I think. Well, I just want to say on that sort of 3rd season. I mean, it was still close, but like we were talking about, Man United they'd been coming back to a point where they can be champions for quite a while, and like you say, you felt them throughout that season before getting to a better and better as it went on, and then their time then came. That season, didn't they? So I think that was quite a big moment for Fergie to sort of like turn the tables on him, really. And I think maybe a lot of it.
I was going to mention the injuries like Michael Essien and Paul Ferrat play centre back a lot that season. I don't know why we let Robert Hoof and Gallas go. I'll never understand that. It was a bit of a weird. I know why we let Gallas go to what that's called, but I don't know why we didn't just keep Robert Hoof for another year. It was a bit weird. But we'd kind of thinned the squad out, and then we got injuries, and you can't complain about injuries, like I've said.
No.
But I think the injuries did catch up with us. I mean, John Terry missed quite a few matches that 3rd season as well, and Jen got used main centre. And Michael Essien played centre back in FA Cup final. I think we'll forget that. Carvalho were injured; he didn't even get to play in that game.
Yeah.
So we actually beat Man U 1-0 with a midfield centre back. It was a bit odd.
Yeah.
I just 3rd season I kind of liked it in some ways though, because I kind of like it has a good ending. Like we won the FA Cup and finished the season on a high, and I think I've talked to you guys about how much I love winning the cup finals and stuff. It's like it's almost it's not better than winning the league, but because you win the cup on that day, it's kind of like it's a little bit more special in some respects. But But I think that's when that season's when the problem. I think that's when him and Abramovich because I don't think Mourinho wanted Shevchenko. I think I got forced on him. I think he wanted Ballack, and Ballack were a good signing for us. But we got who else did we get? We got someone. We got Mikel, didn't we, that summer as well? And he didn't know which. I don't think he knew what position in midfield to play in. So it was. We should have bought a centre back looking back. And then Czech got. That's the year Czech nearly died, didn't it? When he got his head injury. Forgot about that. So, you know, again going about, and then Cudicini got knocked out in the same game. You can't make
it. I know.
You know,
Hilario. Was it Hilario that came on then?
Yeah, Hilario. Yeah. But you know what I mean? If you got no offense to Hilario, but if you've got him as your goalkeeper, you're not going to win a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just one of that. And again, that catches up on you, and you know, Man U deserve to win the league that year. We can't ever say they didn't. But I think, you know, if we hadn't have had the injuries and maybe got in the centre back, who knows what would have happened? It might have been a 3rd. But it won't, and then we didn't win it for a couple more years after that.
To say that, to be honest, I've no, apart from the FA Cup, I have not a lot of recollection of that 3rd season, because I think that, as T was saying, you look more at the first 2 seasons of them winning the Premier League. Now you mentioned, I do remember the FA Cup now, so we were talking about on the FA podcast, but
I think every team's got a forgotten successful season though.
Yeah.
And they've done something quite big, but then it's like you don't remember anything about the season. You'll remember that moment, that win, that cup final, or whatever, but you won't remember I think that's just the way it was that season.
I remember the League Cup final start against Arsenal.
Yeah, John Terry nearly died in that.
Yeah.
That was bloody awful. That.
Yeah. And Diaby just volleyed his head.
I mean, he didn't do it on purpose, did he? I mean,
No.
You remember that John Terry, weren't you, in your episode? He used to throw himself into stuff. But
yeah, that's what he did, wasn't it?
yeah, that was awful. That, and I remember a lot of Arsenal players looked as worried as Chelsea players. Anyway, I think I think they thought he was dead. To be honest.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's head injuries. So you see it even in modern times, they're so dangerous, and
Well, who was the Hull player that?
Ryan Mason, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was bad, wasn't it? And
that literally finished his career, didn't it? In the end, as well.
Which is obviously awful to see. Anyone's career get finished by a head injury, in it, but yeah.
Anyway, you want to pick up on this the third season before we stop that?
No. I just wanted to then obviously they had that season. Obviously they only lost out on the league by it were only 6 points behind Man United.
Yeah,
they still lost 3, yeah. So it wasn't I think it was the draws that caught up with them.
I remember drawing against Fulham, Reading. I think we were ahead in both those games. They just spring to mind, and games you'd expect to win, which he's got a right to win a game, like I've said before. But a lot of games like that.
So then the season after with Mourinho, because Chelsea still came second the season after, the 4th year.
Yeah.
Where Mourinho obviously leaves Chelsea, but and they came close to win. They only 2 points off, winning it that year as well. So they're always in the mix there or thereabouts. But when did it sort of start with things turned sour with Mourinho then?
I think the season before.
Right.
And I think it kind of carried on, and then I think we had a summer where we signed Ben Haim, Steve Sidwell, which you were on a free, so I kind of get it, but at the same time, you're like,
I think that was take it to the next level.
You're not having any more money now, and I think that's because they'd fallen out. I don't think it's because he didn't want to spend anything.
Yeah,
I think he just wouldn't give him any more money, and I think, Mourinho, I don't think anyone can argue that he's a great manager, and he did make teams better and stuff, but the guy needs money, to function, or he'd need like the best youth player ever, something like that.
Yeah,
I think that was a big thing, and I almost feel like we got a bit conned by him at the same time, because I think we fell in love with him that much. I almost felt like, because it was a mutual decision for him to leave as well, and I feel like Mourinho wanted to leave, and looking back,
he sort of wanted to go out and be the hero, didn't he?
Yeah, I think we feel a bit about looking back at it now, and maybe it is a little bit because he's at Spurs now, but he kind of almost feel like he kind of played us a bit, and like you say, he sort of went out almost like it wasn't his fault, but then it kind of was his fault.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's a mutual decision. But what sort of time of the year where he did actually? Because I remember being quite taken aback by it, because obviously, like now looking back on it, you've pointed to those things that have contributed to it, but I remember when it happened, it seemed like it were out of the blue for definitely for like other fans. I don't know how you saw it, Dougie.
Well, it was after a Champions League game, wasn't it?
Rosenborg, yeah.
Yeah, it went after a Champions League, which I think it finished 0-0. Am I right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. So we had a game. I remember we had a game against Blackburn. I think a week before, and Kalou scored, and the referee didn't give the goal, so they were offside, and he won. And Mourinho grabbed one of the monitors and chucked it on the pitch. And I think that's at the time when you looking back now, you think, well, he was obviously worried for his job a bit, wasn't he, at that point?
But were it? I don't think it were definitely all results though, were it?
No, I don't think it was. I think results just
Abramovich,
played the part. Yeah.
I think he used like any little blip that he could. That when he sort of struck, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think as well. Though, you think like players are faultless, but at the same time, it's like they probably got. I think Drogba said something about we couldn't hear his message anymore, and it's almost like he was telling him to do things, and maybe they got a bit bored and stuff. And
yeah.
There's all these things to factor in there. I think it was time, to be honest, looking back.
Do you think the Chelsea players? I'll definitely go further into this the next time he came back. But do you think that the Chelsea players could have done a little bit more for Mourinho?
I do. I do, and I think there maybe was a bit of arrogance there from players at the same time. But I think it's a bit like modern football, where I think players do run the club now, not the managers. Where you go back to an era when Brian Clough and Alex Ferguson were all. I mean, Alex Ferguson obviously was there later, but they ran them clubs, and I feel like at Chelsea, I mean, I think Mourinho made us winners though, and I think that stuck with us all those years. But I think it did get a bit like I don't know if it was an intentional. Oh, we're not playing for this guy anymore, or if it was just more of a we literally just can't do what he's telling us to do. I don't. It's just weird. The player. I had me, Dougie. I've had to go to the players over the years for stuff as well. Like I just don't know what. I don't know. It's just one of them, innit? It was so weird.
They were all weird.
But looking back, like I said, maybe he should have just gone after he won FA Cup. Maybe he should have just said, right, I'm done. But he obviously thought he'd get back in, didn't he? And maybe be able to fix his relationship with Abramovich and stuff. I
think Man United, doing so well as well that season, because that was when they had Cristiano Ronaldo really at the peak of his powers.
No, but maybe if they weren't so good, maybe we still would have been able to grind out some of those titles and stuff. I mean, you don't know. I mean, look at when Ronaldo went to Real Madrid and Real Madrid couldn't win the league because Barcelona was so good. Any of the years that have probably smashed it, wouldn't they? But I don't know. It was just one of them. Every team's got a cycle, aren't there? Maybe that's where he doesn't compare to guys like Fergie and even Wenger, maybe to a little bit lesser extent. But you've got to rebuild your team after so long, and maybe he didn't know how to do that without spending a lot of money. I mean, you look at we're talking about those youth players that didn't come through, but what happened to any of them? They all none of them did they then? Those youth players we had then. I think we signed like Ben Sahar, and he were a pile of crap, you know. That sound awful, but he was terrible.
Yeah.
Pretty good on Pez though.
That's sort of. If every player was bought by Pez.
I remember Carlton Cole being absolutely phenomenal on Pez.
As I say, it's only a game. So that sort of began the cycle of the revolving Chelsea managers.
Yeah, I guess it did. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like Avram Grant. I thought he was a fraud, but.
I still remember him on his hands and knees after beating Liverpool in that Champions League game.
Well, that season was probably the season we don't talk about.
It was like I said, there was the revolving door, and then light shone down again on Stamford Bridge, and he returned. Quite very successful couple of years away with Milan. I think he won the treble with
Inter Milan. Yeah, don't say Milan. That's AC. Internationale.
With Inter Milan.
Well, Inter Milan, he did 2 years there. I still loved the guy at the time as well, so I was like, thinking for him. That Inter Milan team, I mean, look how their bad day went the year after. He made them better than they were and stuff.
Yeah, he did.
Massively. They were a mate. Treble. I mean,
they won the treble, didn't they?
Yeah. They lost Ibrahimovic because they had him for a season, and then they went and Ibrahimovic class player, weren't they? They got like Samuel Eto'o. I still find that the weirdest deal in history that they got Samuel Eto'o and the It's like I almost felt like they got the better. I mean, I think Ibrahimovic is a brilliant player. Don't get me wrong, but Eto'o at the time was probably at the peak of his powers. Just to keep winning that one. But he put Eto'o like
just call that the episode name, Bob.
Yeah, peak of his powers. But yeah, and then Real Madrid, he did well there. I think people can't really deny it, but that's when I think the man changed. Real Madrid.
Yeah. You're right there, Bob. I agree massively.
And I don't think I'd want to manage. If I were a manager, Real Madrid, I think there is something there, like with the whole presidency stuff and all that pull-out. There is something there that I think turned you. And I think he fell out.
Toxic.
I think that's the first time he started falling out with players when he was at Real Madrid.
Because I think it works well with Zidane because he's a Madrid man. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Whereas he knows the club, he's played there, he's been, and then Mourinho came in with all these. If you look, like you said there rightly about how he's gone to Inter Milan and transformed them, because I remember, I think they'd been winning titles, hadn't they? But it was only really on the back of.
Us, weren't they?
Like
there, and then you made them into a superpower.
Milan and Juventus, obviously Juventus got relegated, didn't they, to Serie B, so they were coming back through. But then it was the way that they were so competitive in Europe and able to win that Champions League, which again it proved how good Mourinho was. He'd managed to get the Champions League again, and But yeah, I totally agree with what you say there about Real Madrid changing him, because you started to hear whispers. I know again, people talk about his third season.
Yeah. Second season, I think that they've still got some sort of record for that season. I don't think it's most points or most wins or something. Yeah. It's something ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and again, if you think they were up against probably the best team of all time, the Barcelona team.
Yeah.
So to knock them off the perch for that season was some achievement, but he didn't really achieve in the Champions League, did he? And maybe that at the time,
which is
was
what they're
the
all
holy
about,
grail for because they'd not won it for so long.
I remember Capello one year won league and got sacked because he didn't win Champions League. But Real Madrid, in it.
Yeah.
I think it's more I think Real Madrid seem more like a business. I said with everyone seems to. It's very political. That's what it's very political.
Yeah, that's what I was getting with the presidency stuff. Yeah. Like, if you're not that person's man, they want you out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That guy came back, didn't he? That Calderon, and he wanted Mourinho back.
Yeah.
And he was obviously his guy, wasn't he? And when he left, it's messy there. It's very messy.
Yeah.
So then, sorry,
look at the mention messy. No, but you've got to admit. I mean, we could probably do an episode on Real Madrid sometime because they're a fascinating club, aren't they?
Yeah.
But the way their fans are as well, there's just arrogance all throughout the entire Real Madrid. I mean, I've got a shirt. I mean, I quite like Real Madrid, but I mean, I'm gonna say actually. See, I grew up because I like. Sorry, this is a tangent, but I love like Raúl, and then I love Ronaldo, and it's like those players out there now. So I'm kind of just a bit like, who have they got now that I love? It's not Hazard, but then he's not really playing that well, is he? I played well overnight actually, but yeah.
It's like in this to lose some weight, I think, does
it? Cool. What's that, me? Sorry, Dougie, anyway.
No, it's fine. So, like I said, the shining light returned, and the special one. The special one changed to the happy one, and
sorry, Claire.
Were you a happy one when
I was ecstatic? Yeah.
Mourinho came back.
A happy one, yeah. So I was ecstatic, yeah, because it's funny enough, I said I knew we were going to win league that year. I thought we were not going to win league this year, but I knew we were going to win it year after. And I thought what he'll do is he'll stabilise us. I stupidly felt it was all going to be different this time, and I thought it's going to bring you through, and he's going to stay. Because I thought he'd been around the block, so I thought now he's come back, he's going to stay now.
Yeah, I think everyone thought, and everyone questioned him in press conferences around that.
Yeah.
They were like, "Is this like now that you're the happy one? The happy one? Are you gonna?
I do think he was genuinely happy though, because he knew how much we loved him. But I feel like because this is the thing, they say he should never go back, and I'm always like, well. Should he have done or shouldn't he have done? Because really, he won another league title, so you can't say he shouldn't have gone back. But then maybe at the same time, what would he be doing now if he'd never come back to us? I think he always wanted the Man United job, though, I think there's something in him. And he could have got it that year, but that's what gets me. I don't know if we'd already agreed for him to come back. And because
it seemed like a bit of a marriage of convenience. I remember for Chelsea, didn't it? Because it was just isn't that when they had Benitez the season before?
Yeah,
and
so it was almost like we tried everyone. He'd gone around the block. Oh, why don't you come back? Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
So and I think. Well, look. I don't know what he'd have done really if he didn't go back to Chelsea, because it just seemed like that they were the only available option for him.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I think Man United did contact him, but I think Fergie said that he'd already decided to go to Chelsea. So I don't know if at that point he thought, well, I can't say no now. I do think he wanted the Man United job. I think that was a big thing for him. But maybe if it had succeeded Fergie, maybe it would have worked out better for him. I don't know, but it's one of them, innit? I think.
Yeah.
I was glad he came back. I was absolutely. I mean, that season we pretty much had like. Eto'o was getting on. Demba Ba was kind of decent at times, and then Torres. I almost felt like if we'd have had a striker that season, we might have won the league that season. But
again,
I think we got quite close, didn't we?
There were 4 points off the title.
I remember there wasn't much in it.
I remember when they beat. What weird is, and obviously a big point in that season where when Mourinho's Chelsea beat Liverpool at Anfield, and that ended up being a critical
Yeah.
blow
Dougie's
for Liverpool.
Turn his screen off, yeah.
Liverpool's title ambitions. But I think what I always look back on that game, apart from the obvious.
Well, we've got that's going to be on our next episode, isn't it? So we'll save that one. Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, but what I remember were weird was the media weren't talking about Chelsea having a chance for the title, and Mourinho himself sort of had this. He was sort of resigned to, we're not going to win it, but like they beat Liverpool and it threw him right back into it. I know it was still right at the very business end, but that seemed a little bit weird. I don't know whether he was trying to deflect.
I think he might have knew, because we'd lost to Sunderland at home, haven't we? Which was a shock result, and I think maybe he knew then that this team weren't good enough.
Yeah, and they lost to Villa, didn't they? Where he sort of like kicked off.
Oh God,
I prefer not to speak.
But we used to have we never used to win at Villa Park. I remember winning under Goose Hiddink, and it was the first time we'd won there in like 10 years or something stupid. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like we beat all the big teams that year, but we just couldn't win the title. It was almost like a good season, isn't it? When you look back, watch the season review. It's probably quite a good one to go back on because there's some good victories. But we lost. I think we lost. How did we draw with Palace 0-0 or something? It was so ridiculous. We kept giving away so that we beat Spurs. I backed Spurs. Old Manetu with his celebration. But it was almost like a great season without any. It was a bit of a shame not to win anything because I remember at Super Cup against Bayern Munich and we're literally seconds away from winning it, and Frank Lampard miskicks it and scored. And I just remember thinking, it would have been nice to have just won, even just to win that, just to get some. You always want to win a bit of silverware, don't you? But
yeah,
it was a bit of a weird one. I think everything was. I think he was building up for the season after. Because I remember in the January we could have signed a striker and we didn't, and he said you'll see it in summer. And I think they'd already spoke to Diego Costa and got him.
Yeah.
To kind of. Well, they're not supposed to sign pre-contract agreements, but they do now.
Yeah, but going back to what you said about that feeling that you get about, Chelsea are going to be up there for the title this year, and I felt the same that season after, like that almost him getting his feet under the table, back in the door, and getting to know, because it was completely different. Of course, there was still that spine of players like Lampard and Terry and Cech from before, but it were a completely different team that he had to work with. Different challenges as well. You had Man City coming through. Obviously, Liverpool were having a really good season then as well. So it were a different sort of Premier League to the one that he left.
It was, yeah.
But then the signings that they brought in, like you said, Diego Costa, Cesc Fabregas, you sort of thought that they're making moves, they're making serious moves here.
They were very important signings, those two. I think. That's what won us league year after, basically.
Definitely, yeah.
I didn't know. Are you wanting to finish on that season or just go straight to the next one then, Dougie?
No. I was just going to say what do you mean to move on to?
It's just because obviously Taven's moved on to signing Fabregas and and Costa.
Yeah, fine. What I was going to say was the season before they had Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah, and that sort of. Yeah.
No, Salah came the year after, but. Oh no! Was that you? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I remember him playing at Liverpool.
I was excited when we signed him because he scored against us playing Basel, wasn't it? He played for.
Yeah, he was really good against us as well.
He didn't get a chance, man. I think Kevin De Bruyne. I think he got a chance to play for a bit, and I think him and Mourinho didn't get on. I think that's happened with that. Personally, of the ones that left, I'm not Lukaku. We should have probably kept him that season. It was a bit weird looking back, but I almost don't feel like he was a great loss. I think De Bruyne and Salah were missed out on them, but Lukaku for me
was the reason Lukaku. Sorry, Bob. In the Super Cup, did you not lose on penalties?
He missed a penalty. I don't know if that's what it was.
Because that was a sort of talk that Lukaku sort of nailed his coffin when he missed that pen. And
I heard Everton put a bid in for him, and he asked if a loan bid, and he asked if he could go.
But maybe because he was a youth player, and
I remember thinking he was going to be the next Drogba, but he wasn't. I don't think he was ever a Drogba type player. Looking back, actually, he wasn't. But I don't look back on that one and think he was a great a great, the one that got, when you talk about the ones that got away, I don't feel like Lukaku was, because I don't feel like when he went to Man United, he was like great. He had some decent goal records still, but he didn't.
The problem with
the champions, did he?
The problem with Lukaku is he didn't do it in the big games.
I think he had actual problems, to be honest.
We used to speak about, like people spoke about Drogba, always been there on a big occasion. Lukaku has failed to do that. I don't know what he's doing now abroad.
I do think Man U was silly to get rid of him and not replace him, though. That was a silly move by them, because I feel like he did still score like 20 goals or whatever a season, didn't he? But you kind of got to replace those goals, and but for me, De Bruyne, I think, or however you pronounce his name, I usually pronounce his name wrong. He's one I think we should have probably, because I think we had him in Oscar, and I think we took the chance on Oscar.
Yeah.
And I think it was a bad move looking back.
So coming on to the title-winning season, I remember Chelsea played some fabulous football with Fabregas, Oscar, and Hazard.
Oh yeah, it was the first half of the season. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
The goal against Palace, that little one through the all between each of them.
Yeah. Well, Fabregas made us tick, I think. That was different.
It was different. it was different to what you did before, really, wasn't it? You never really had that mould of player, which made it interesting.
And I think because he'd been to Barcelona as well, I think he's frozen again. I think he'd almost kind of become a bit smarter. Like, I think he almost like had a different radar, and he knew he still would have frozen, didn't he? Right, took a snapshot. I think he was a bit of a smarter player in terms of he knew where things were. Can you still hear us, Dougie? You still there?
Yeah.
Can't even hear him, can you?
Yeah.
If you can hear me, you might want to dial off and I'll put you back on. Seems well frozen. This has been a bit of a disaster, hasn't
it? Technical issues.
Oh, I'll just knock my screen off. But yeah, I think, I can't go to concentrate with that face looking at me. I think his link up with Costa was like really important.
Yeah, it was. I remember that goal at Burnley. I went first game of the season for Chelsea.
Yeah, that pass to Shirley.
For Shirley, when when that waiter passed from Fabregas to just put it into his path, and then I remember one of the Burnley players said, not on Soccer Box, one of the Burnley players said, like, that's the difference about, between the Premier League and the Championship.
Yeah. I remember we were on Monday Night Football, and I think they said that the previous like 3 champions had all been on Monday Night Football. Like I said, I knew we were going to win the league that year. I just had a feeling. But yeah, Fabregas. I mean, I used to obviously hate this Fabregas because he had a bit of a thing with Lampard. And the day I actually like he proper won me over was when we scored that goal against QPR last minute. And that day I just wanted to grab him and go like, because he was like such a massive. Do you know? It's funny actually. I feel like this is the last season I was really like proper into football. Yeah. It was almost like my bounce back season, and then after that I kind of dropped off a bit. But it was just everything. Just that season were just. I mean, Hazard were unbelievable. Fabregas, Costa, just the whole combination of them was. I remember actually playing against Arsenal and being quite nervous. I thought you were going to beat us that day, and we ended up winning like 2-0 and stuff. And there were just a lot of games like Everton. That Everton game was 6-3. I've never had such a game where I wanted to have had a heart attack.
Oh yeah, cheering. That.
It was incredible. Looking back, it's probably one of the best games of all time. Looking back,
I remember I was at work and I was just looking up on the big screen and it was just goal after goal.
Yeah. It was mental, wasn't it? The big. I think what changed that season was when Tottenham battered us at their ground. They beat us like 5-3 or 5-2 or something.
Yeah.
And I think after that,
Kane got a field, didn't he?
We went a bit more pragmatic after that. And it's funny because Bradford knocked out FA Cup that year, and I actually remember thinking it were a good thing because we needed to kind of concentrate on the league, and we didn't have the squad to cope with like the Champions League as well. And PSG knocking us out with 10 men. There were some lows that season. I think people probably don't think about, but beating Spurs in League Cup was amazing. That was probably my favourite moment of the season. That because.
Denying them trophies.
And I felt like we had to get them back, for 2008 as well.
Yeah,
it was like things like that. But no, it was a great season. It was one of my favourites ever when I look back on it. And like Dougie was saying about about the football, It's probably some of the best football I've ever seen Chelsea play.
Yeah.
Can't really argue with it, And like I say, I fell in love with a player in Fabregas. I never thought, and he never thought he'd fall in love with Chelsea, as he said, because obviously he was an Arsenal man. And I remember thinking, I remember when we signed Emmanuel Petit from you guys, and I remember thinking he wasn't ever a Chelsea man.
Yeah.
And it's like I felt like Fabregas became one, and not that obviously he's still an Arsenal man and stuff, but I felt like you almost don't know if they're going to come and play for you to come in, because it's like a convenient. Like I feel like that was a deal of convenience in some respects, though.
Yeah, it was again.
I do think if Arsenal had gone in for him, I think he'd have gone back to Arsenal. But I think you had Özil, didn't you? And I think Wenger basically just said, "Oh, I can't bring you back." So I think that's when he were like, "Right, you've got to look at your options, then, haven't you?" And go, we're talking about Michael Owen, didn't we? Going to Man United, if Stoke or bloody West Brom coming for you, and Man United, you're going to go to Man United, aren't you?
Yeah.
So, no, I'm not saying Stoke coming in for Seth Fabregas. But yeah, that was one of probably the last time I truly enjoyed a season. Strange.
Yeah.
Then it all fell apart.
Yeah, so moving into that season then, obviously, I remember the opening day because it was Dougie's wedding. And,
yeah.
I remember you had that.
However it was.
Yeah, I remember you had that 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
I remember me and Dougie being at bar. And I think you'd got. I don't know if you'd gone by then, Bob. I don't know, but you might have been there.
Yeah, I was there when it was.
Oh yeah.
I knew it was
because I remember me and yeah. I just remember me and Dougie being at bar thinking, "Oh, Bob won't be too happy with it."
It was a sign of things to come, wasn't it? That
bit of a blow for Bob on the up. Yeah.
We ballsed up.
Wasn't that the game with? Wasn't that the game with the what's she called?
Eva.
Wasn't that game? Eva Carnero.
Yeah.
So
that was dodgy. All that. I don't know what happened there, but
that was funny because that contributed a little bit to it as well. I feel.
I actually lost a bit of respect from that day because I remember Guardiola doing it to his physios at Bayern Munich, and he were like being sarcastic at Coffee.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was disgusting, and I actually thought the same. I think that's when Mourinho started to kind of lose me a bit, and I was kind of like, you know what? I think again he was upset that we hadn't gone out and spent money on players and stuff.
Yeah,
I think there was all that again.
I think looking at that as well, I think he had the same sort of complaint when he was at United, saying that he was never given the money to go out and buy players. I think that's the thing with Mourinho. I think sometimes.
Well, we said, didn't we? He has to, but
he sort of lives in the past sometimes about huge things that didn't happen. Instead of saying, okay, let's move on. We're champions. We're coming into the season as champions, so not bad. But then I remember an interview where he said, if they want to sack me, they're going to sack the best manager they've ever had.
You're almost like you were asking to be sacked.
Yeah, again, a little bit similar to what we talked about. Yeah.
I think you remember the first time I said I think he decided he had enough. I think the same thing happened. I think he'd had enough. And again, that's if you can't handle that pressure, what are you doing in a job like that? Yeah,
and it sort of it was just coming out with all sorts after games, and it were really weird. I remember it was just like the things he were talking about there was something he did about them minutes, and he was like minute 1 and minute 11, and he talked about all these stuff that's happening in the game, and it was like it was just like him going a little bit mad.
I actually should have mentioned it when we won the title the year before. He did not look very happy. I don't know if you guys remember. I know his dad wasn't well and stuff, so maybe that was a contributing factor. But I remember thinking, and I was a bit worried. I thought he doesn't look very happy, and I don't know what it was, but something was not right at that point at the season. Yeah. And I think we talked about, you see the signs before. I think the same happened with that season, and there were a lot of sorry, Doug, I know you want to say something, but pre-season we went on the tour to US, and before that, we finished the last season and went to Australia for 3 games. I don't know why. Then we came back, had a summer off. Oh, was it a summer off? Yeah, it was a summer off that year, wasn't it? Then they came back for this American pre-season, and I think the players were absolutely knackered that season. Diego Costa came back overweight. I think Hazard were carrying a hip injury, and I think it turned out he had it all season and stuff. I mean, he still played like dog crap anyway, but There were just a lot of factors, and for me, you've got to kind of overcome those factors. And Pedro, you know, we've signed Pedro that year. You know, wasn't a bad signing, but I feel like he kind of came in and we kind of were looking we almost looked into rescuers, and I think he thought, well, I'm not that good. You know, I'm a good player, but I'm not like.
I just remember like it got to a point where you sort of expected, and you should never expect this with Chelsea because they still had that pretty much the same teams as the year before, which were really weird, and they just kept drawing games and losing games, even at home and stuff, and it was just like, what's going on?
It were worse than the time you left the first time. The results were. Yeah. You're almost
definitely.
Like, it's the same team from last season.
Yeah, I know. And I've just been looking at the stats. I know obviously then he didn't come in and oversaw it to end of the year.
Yeah.
But 12 wins, 14 draws, and 12 defeats. That's like 50 points. That's like unheard of for 12 wins for Chelsea in the season.
That's like what we got in like 92, 93.
Yeah.
I think also
unbelievable
to be that he'd fallen out with a lot of key players. I think Hazard
something happened. Yeah.
Was a talk of Cesc as well.
Do you know what? No. I'm going to mention that. Fabregas got stick off some Chelsea fans because they thought he was one of the snakes. And Fabregas was the only player who was contacting him after he'd left. And I think because he was an ex-Arsenal player, I think people just thought like, well, it must be him. Yeah, and I don't think I think he fell out with Hazard. I think something happened there.
But
maybe Hazard was doing that either, when he got sacked.
I think that was the first stage of Chelsea players downing tools, and they've done it before. They do it again.
Yeah, there was partly that. Yeah,
that was the first stage, I think, of them, and that's when it becomes bad. Because I felt for Mourinho, I really did, because he got sacked, I think, after the Leicester game away. Because they got battered by Leicester away.
Leicester went to win the title, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think he got sacked after that. And they didn't perform in that game either. And I think it was just like you said, there was a continuous run of games where they didn't perform. And you sort of
can I just say something though?
The dressing room.
Yeah, but there is something to be said about Mourinho running players into the ground, and I think people, you know, Eto'o, who was signed for Inter Milan and put him on the wing. I think the year after, I think he really struggled, and I think it was because he just ran. And I remember Ivanovic just didn't look like the same player anymore after that season. And I do think he runs players into the ground, and I think it's something that people don't talk about as much with Mourinho.
Do you not agree that the down tools?
I think some players did. I always felt Hazard did, but then I found out about his hip injury after, and I think, well, maybe he's playing with an injury. Maybe Hazard should have just gone and had his surgery or whatever. I think there was some of that. I'm not going to lie, there was some of that.
Do you think down tools Chelsea players?
I think I always said this at the time. I think it were a bit of both. So I think it were a bit of players not trying as they've done. Maybe it's that feeling of, we've won league last season, we can sort of relax now, which you do get, and that's why it's so hard to win back-to-back titles, like you said, Bob. But I feel that players weren't playing how they can play, and that you always get that criticism if you've gone from being champions to being like mid-table, or almost like relegation.
I literally said to my mate, we've gone from champions to champions.
Yeah.
Because we literally did. Yeah.
And but then the other side of it, I feel that Mourinho then were coming in his press conferences, going back to what I said, and he was sort of calling players out like he does, and he'd label certain players, and then if you're a player, you're not going to like that. Like, I don't want to make.
Do you think that's an old
Wenger,
school thing though?
Maybe, but I always remember like. There's been a lot of times where I've watched Arsenal, and I wanted Wenger to just go out and say, right, but he'd never throw a player under the bus. And I think Mourinho got to this stage. Maybe it was a bit of that Real Madrid thing about the how he'd fallen out with players there.
Yeah, I remember.
He felt maybe trying to prove his authority, but he'd tend to do that, throwing players under the bus, and then you'll see. We'll probably talk about it, but it continued at Man United. And it's continued a little bit at Spurs actually with Ndombele, but maybe players then when they get that they don't. Some players you'd probably react to it and in a good way, but maybe not the modern player maybe that they can't sort of take that criticism. I don't know.
But does
so
it
that's
also
why I think a bit of both.
you look at a guy like Ferguson. He knew like Eric Cantona could get away with anything,
Yeah.
but he won't let Gary Neville get away with everything. And I think you've got Ryan Giggs on straight and narrow, didn't he? Which, Shaven's gone now. You there? I know. Managers have to be able to handle, like, you've got to know who to put an arm around, and you've got to know who to give a kick up the backside. And I remember he did it to Joe Cole, give him a kick up backside, and I think Joe Cole was a better player for it.
Yeah.
Maybe, like I said, maybe it was like an old school thing where he thought, well, I'll do it again. But I think some players were just like,
I think he sort of
slagging me off.
He went from the father figure to a distant relative, didn't he? In the end.
Where have you got that one from? I like that.
That's how fair.
Yeah.
That's how rehearsed.
Player's point of view.
Yeah.
Then so he sort of then that was the end of him. Then Mourinho at Chelsea, the time was done, and he was going to go on to pastures new again. And
I didn't mind him going to Man United, because I felt like, I don't hate Man United like you guys do. I'm not a closet fan like Dougie was trying to say, but I think because I grew up in a Man United household, though, I think you kind of don't hate that team, and I think as well, like, I almost thought, like, well, he always wanted to go there, so he's got his shot now. But when he went to Spurs, I was like, I swear, but I was just like, you don't do that.
Yeah,
it showed, do that.
It doesn't really have any.
He'll link with Arsenal, and I think it'd gone.
Yeah, I think it would have done. Yeah,
I don't think he's got any value.
I don't think there's many Arsenal fans that would have accepted Jose Mourinho.
But there were some at the time who were saying that they'd have had him.
If he'd have come in and won stuff, he'd have started to.
Yeah.
Do you remember what he used to call Jose Mourinho to him?
What was this?
I don't actually know.
About Tony Pulis with money.
I think.
Yeah.
But he did kind of turn into that, though, didn't he?
He did turn into that.
Yeah.
Tony Pulis without. He was a Tony Pulis with money. That's what.
Yeah. That reminds me of that guy ringing up Robbie Savage saying, I think Man United should get Tony Pulis.
but
Tony Pulis.
But it's like Bob, you've referred to it twice now on both sort of occasions, that it seems that these problems with the board that have maybe resulted to and obviously going hand in hand with maybe results on the pitch as well. Maybe it's come from not being able to spend money as he likes. I think Abramovich he changed tack a little bit, and like especially recently, he don't go out and spend money like it's going out of fashion. So Chelsea have become a lot more self-sufficient, where they'll sort of sell players on and get really good transfer fees and then use that money. And maybe Mourinho sort of didn't really like that way of working, especially being at Real Madrid.
Well, yeah, you want someone we'll discuss then. Yeah.
So
they can't really do that now, can they? Football's changing, isn't it? So
I think sort of him going on to Man United, and I just remember thinking, like, I listened to a few stuff, and he's always has a problem in his third season. As Mourinho,
yeah,
he always had
his first two seasons at Man U were actually quite good. I mean, you think about it.
But what I'm saying is I think he was been there for 2 years at Man United, but then what Man United did was they offered him a new contract. Now, instead of saying let's happen, because with the form he had with Chelsea, with that third to fourth season where he sort of went in the end, so instead of keeping him hungry, instead of saying, right, we know what he's been like, so let's not offer him another contract, let's keep him going a little bit. And then when he didn't get the players he wanted, and I said the first part of press conference, he said, look, I have my players. And I think that's when the decline again between board and manager started again, because then he was sort of saying, well, you've not got me players.
Deflecting, yeah.
So much money on Fred. He spent over 50 million on Fred. And you're thinking, did he need Fred? Could he have spent that 50 million buying a centre?
Did he buy Fred, though? This is what I'm always...
Were it the board,
I don't feel like his Man United team was ever his team. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like, I feel like at Chelsea and Inter Milan, even Real Madrid to an extent, he was able to build teams. Where at Man United, it was almost like they went, well, we'll give you this guy, and then we're going to sign.
Yeah.
Like you look at
It's
the players
changed,
they signed
hasn't
after,
it?
like Harry Maguire. Maybe Harry Maguire under Mourinho would have been, because of his defensive work and stuff. Maybe he would have been a better player.
You see it happening
It's
more
just
and more, don't you? Now at clubs that you see, it's like the transfers are just dealt with by a director of football and board level. Like even Arsenal, you heard that about like Nicolas Pepe being signed and Emery wanted Zaha.
Yeah, that was. Well, let's have an episode on Emery actually. It's quite fascinating. But,
so,
like, do you think Mourinho signed Paul Pogba? Because I don't. I think he was the club signing.
No, again, I agree.
I actually think Mourinho did sign him, and the reason I say he did sign him was because if you think about it, they backed him with a new contract. Then they turned around and said, when Mourinho said, right, I want to get these players, and then they turned around and said, no, we're not getting him. So my question is, who, like this is just what Gary Neville was saying, so I'm just picking up what he was saying. So he said that Mourinho then to the boss said, look, these are the players I want to sign. And whoever said to him said, nah, you're not buying them. Who is able, who's got the mind to tell Mourinho, no, you cannot sign them. Don't give him.
Must be Ed Woodward, is it?
Don't give him a new contract and then not back him.
That was I think he got screwed over by them with that board.
I do.
If the board ain't backing you, then you're done. You're not gonna.
What I find odd is, I think he wanted Alderweireld, didn't he? And he was only going to cost 25 mil, and they won't pay it. And I'm almost like, well, why would you not?
I can understand where he was coming from in the end with that, because
I actually do a bit with the Man United one. Yeah, I think, like you say, you don't give somebody what did he sign, a 4-year contract or something?
Yeah. He only had a year left on his contract.
Yeah, and at the same time, you know, you said about like they knew what they were getting, so maybe they should have waited. Well, they knew what they were getting, so maybe they should have backed him, because they know without the money, you can't get the results. And they had to finish second year before, so you think they would have pushed on, wouldn't you, and been like,
and he always said that was like one of his best achievements. And which, looking back now, everyone laughed about. I'm looking back now. And I think it is, because if you look at how Man City and Liverpool just run away with it now, it is impressive for him to come. You know, that season. Don't forget that I think Liverpool, when you got to the Champions League final, if I'm right, that's when Liverpool got to the Champions League final, but Liverpool finished fourth. And everyone was, ranting and raving, and rightly so, about how they were playing. But that season, like Man United finished second, didn't they, with Mourinho?
Yeah.
So,
and let's face it, we beat him in FA Cup final, but it were only by a goal. So it could have had an even better season, really, if they'd have beat us as well.
Yeah, I think the season we got to the Champions League final, I think Mourinho. No, that was last season. Because I'm thinking the last season he was at Man United.
It's getting confusing, isn't it? Because they're also
So the last
season, getting to too many Champions League finals.
his last game was at Anfield when they lost 3-1. That was his last.
Is that when he got sacked?
At Man United. So the next day he was sacked.
But
you just sort of look back, and like we were saying about him outing players, he then started to out Luke Shaw every game.
Yeah, he didn't treat him very well. Yeah, that was a bit. It's like a vendetta against him.
And again, you're starting to out players. Then he had his incredible, when everyone's all seen it, the little thing with Pogba. With that training session, he says something to Pogba, and Pogba sort of turns to him and says to his assistant, what's he going on about in some ways? So again, they're having to go at the top player.
Yeah, I forgot about that. They tried to play it down, didn't they? Yeah.
So again, that's the question I ask again is, did Man United then down tools on Mourinho?
Yeah, and again, that's more evidence to the argument. Is it the players who sort of run the clubs, but which like I remember at the time there was sort of question of, do they back Mourinho here or do they back Pogba, and it had only had one way, because they're going to back the player.
But going back to what Dougie said about the contract, maybe they should have backed him if they give back to him a contract at the same time.
I think you can't give. Choose up. Man United fans knew what they were getting when they brought Mourinho in. A lot of Man United fans look back and think the youth that's coming in, like they want youth to come in, like they've always done. But when you're bringing Mourinho in, you're not bringing him in to bring youth players in for a steady project. You're bringing him in for titles now, and he can't do that. He
Which is
failed
exactly
to do
why
that.
Spurs got him, because they want to
And
win
that is
something.
the first time.
Yeah.
That's the first time because in the last sort of 18, so last 15 years, it's been the best two managers have been Pep and Mourinho. But now you don't really put Mourinho in that category
No.
of management anymore.
And that's
It's Klopp and Guardiola now, isn't it?
And I think that's also I just wanted to touch on. I feel that maybe he's not moved with the times in terms of football, and it's left him behind a little bit. Because I think how these players play, how these teams play, like Klopp at Liverpool and Pep at City, it's completely different to anything that Mourinho's done.
Well, football evolves.
Maybe he can't move with the times. Yeah.
It's like we talked about Brian Clough before. How it's sad that Brian Clough ended on a relegation his career because he had a phenomenal career, but I think the game had just moved on at that point, and he just couldn't compete anymore.
I sort of think as well is Bob. I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to. So you look back at his Chelsea.
Are we not going to talk about Spurs?
No. I'm going to come. I'm going to say.
I've got some thoughts on that.
Bob's always going ahead.
Was there ever a stage where you didn't like watching a Mourinho team? Because I think now a lot of Man United fans didn't like what they were watching.
I think when you're winning stuff, you just don't.
Was there a stage where you didn't like it? You didn't like watching
I'll be
a
honest,
Mourinho team?
I was never. I'm not saying I wasn't bored in matches, but no, there wasn't a stage where I didn't. There was a stage where I didn't like what he was. I would have backed Mourinho everything he said right at one point, and then he started to say things towards the end, and I'm like, I was starting to even that title winning season. I'm like, why are you saying that? You know, some of the stuff he was, and I never used to be like that. I always used to back him. Anything he said, even if it were a lot of crap, I'd be like, back him because he's like our guy and stuff. But some of the stuff he was coming out with, I'm just like, why? What? Where is this coming from? And then like Jalen was saying about how starts, talking about minute 1, blah 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 blah, minute 12, blah, blah. Maybe he was right what he was saying, but at the same time, you almost like. I remember him coming out after we lost to like Liverpool, and he said he didn't want to talk, and I'm almost like, you need to say something now, and he just won't say anything. I'm like, that's when you need to say something, and he didn't. And I think his head went a bit.
Yeah, and I think that third season at Man United again, it were one of those a bit. Not as dramatic as the leaving Chelsea the second time. And he were always
doing this, wasn't he?
Yeah, he would do. Well, it was the. I was just going to touch on the. I don't know after which game it was, but when he did that, respect, man, respect, and he talks about like two titles and stuff.
As you said, like, how many 3 champions, and I've won 3 Premier Leagues more than all the other 19 managers.
Yeah, like, what you on about?
Looking into the past, I mean, like we were saying about him back. I mean, I said in the previous podcast with Arsenal, with Wenger sort of standing still and wasn't able to move forward because of with the stadium and everything. And I think, like you said, Mourinho and Wenger sort of in the end have gone for me a similar path where
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
very great managers, and then Wenger, they think, right, just start spending money now because that's what everybody's doing. They're not doing what they used to do, what he was so famous at doing. He has to start spending money to keep up now, and he never did. And then Mourinho, it's gone back to where bringing youth in again a bit more now, and also spending a little bit more money, which Mourinho wouldn't do, but also again wasn't. So you sort of think, and Mourinho was always called Arsene Wenger a specialist in failure, and I sort of think at the moment he's heading that way now.
I've kind of got. Do you know the difference? I think Wenger's handcuffs were worse than Mourinho's handcuffs.
Yeah.
Because Wenger was handcuffed because he couldn't spend, where Mourinho did spend, but then he almost caused his own problems. Does that make sense?
People have that view of Arsene Wenger. They have that view that he was sort of tight and penny pinching, but in effect, that comes from the top down. It's like if that's what your orders are from the top level, that's what you got to do.
And you know what? I look at the both guys now, and I think, obviously there were times when I hated Wenger, and I think I've actually got more respect for Wenger now than I have Mourinho, because I feel like Wenger's like he's got more morals and values and stuff than Mourinho. And again, we were saying, weren't we, like how that season 05-06 when, the Arsenal one, it was kind of a bit of a last hurrah, wasn't it, for that team? But what an achievement it was to get those players, considering what had happened if we'd lost to the final. And then you look at Mourinho, as soon as his team started to go, they just went. No, I mean, he didn't stay at Inter Milan long enough for that to happen. So maybe it would, maybe it would have.
Look at he moved when he, like I said, when he was at Chelsea, he lived in London. When he was Inter Milan, and when he lived with Madrid, lived in Madrid. Yeah, he was still in London when he was
weird.
Yeah. He wouldn't move. I mean, and that would tell you that doesn't give you no thing as well. If your own manager actually won't move from the city.
Do you kind of think, like, in some ways though, Man United, what he did that first season is kind of not remembered. It was quite a big achievement to win the Europa League. I think he won the League Cup as well, didn't he? You think it was quite a good achievement though? Why don't you look at, because that Man United team was not the Man United team.
No.
What's that?
Ibrahimovic against Southampton.
Well, what a player,
The Mourinho treble that was there in the end, wasn't it? When he did the three with the Community Shield.
But do you not? We don't like to have a season like that now, won't we? Really? Not Liverpool because they're having better seasons, but it was quite a good. It's almost like an underrated. That's probably like his last best season. I mean, I know in his second year after you were saying it was a big achievement, really, but that's probably like the last time Mourinho was Mourinho in a sense because he's not won out since.
Mm.
Anything you want to add to this Man United, mate? Before we lastly just quickly move on to his Spurs one.
No, I think we've covered it there. I'm happy to move on.
Cool. Yeah. So
to the big one.
Thought I did a bit of punditry to figure out
I liked him as well. Yeah, I liked him on punditry.
See how the other side live, and then sort of got, for me, quite shock really him going to Tottenham. I must say, I didn't expect Pochettino to be sacked so early on.
I think he should have left after the Champions League final, to be honest.
So for him to go to Spurs, and then
again, it's one of them convenience things, though, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
And sort of convenience. Changed. He's going to change again. And it's gone back into that cycle again of outing players again, and people not wanting to stay. And he sort of walked into.
Seems a bit of a mess.
Anyway,
I was worried when he went there, and now I'm like not worried at all.
I'm same, Bob. I'm exactly the same because I just think he went there and you just thought he was going to hit the ground running straight away.
Did they?
But it's almost like they're just the same as the one when Pochettino were having problems this season.
Which again, is this the players? Do we want the players for this? Yeah.
But we will find out on Friday night when Man United play Tottenham.
United will see. That's his first return against Man United.
See, I'm a little bit worried again now though because they've had that rest and they've got Kane back and Kane's back in it.
He's losing with Harry Kane. I saw a picture of him.
But they were almost getting.
Looks like he's on Hazard's diet.
They were getting a bit unlucky with injury, Spurs, and I feel like
they were.
And I'm almost a bit worried because I do think like although we are in that top four, I feel like we're a bit fragile. So I'm a bit worried.
Now everyone is coming up looking at the start of the new season.
Yeah.
Everybody's fit now. There's no injuries. Everyone is
I feel like
fit.
Everyone's back to square one. Liverpool are too far ahead to blow the title, but I feel like other teams are not far enough ahead to not blow anything. Do you know what I mean? And
it would be great if we were coming back to a title race. I'll tell you that. Dougie sweating on it.
Maybe next
I'd love no more than that.
That Buffy.
But, I'm almost been shocked how bad it's been at Spurs because I thought when he came in, I remember Jamie O'Hara, whatever you call him, getting really excited. I do think he might win some at there. I won't be shocked if he did because he wins stuff. But at the same time, I'm almost like enjoying watching it all capitulate.
But again, a bit like. Sorry to cut you off, Bob. Go on.
No, it's fine. I've done it too long.
There's been little rumours about obviously it's been in the news about Spurs. I know they wanted to furlough the staff, didn't they, with the impact of the coronavirus, which obviously everyone's been in, and then they've had to do that loan from the Bank of England, which sort of hints at sort of financial issues. And is Mourinho going to be on board for that sort of thing? Because that's not gonna like go away, in like a year's time. It's going to be a gradual process of them. And like we talked about before, maybe Spurs have sort of passed their golden era.
Yeah, because like Kane's getting on. Dele Alli
He's-
seems to have would have
he's
been playing
get-
for a season, but looks a
And
bit.
Kane seems really injury prone as well.
Yeah.
You sort of
Which
think,
is
you know,
probably why I'll never catch Shearer because it's
all,
probably got.
Yeah.
all the players now. I mean, like, you know, they've sort of reached the.
Yeah, but do you know what? You could almost do an episode on this yourself, right? What did you say? Sorry.
I said they've sort of gone past the success now, haven't they, at Spurs?
What success? But a weird one for me
What
was
success?
Kieran Trippier. Right.
Yeah.
I think he's a decent player. He's better than Aurier. Why did he go and Aurier stayed? I found that weird. Why would you get rid of Kieran Trippier?
It's a bit erratic, is Aurier.
But Kieran Trippier said something interesting about how
I love that
him
word.
leaving wasn't necessarily what you think and how there's something more going on. And I'm almost like, because Spurs can't offer don't seem to be able to offer these, and they're in the stadium thing like you guys were in. Unfortunately, or fortunately for us, they don't have an Arsene Wenger who can like keep things steady. But you look at Spurs and you're like, Mourinho going to Spurs, it doesn't quite suit him, does it? Because he's not going to get much money to spend.
Everyone said this as well. That,
it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Go there, yeah.
Did they sign somebody in January though, didn't they? Who did they sign?
Who's that?
Signed Jedson Fernandez, didn't they? And
that guy from Holland they signed, didn't they?
And Steven Bergwijn.
Yeah, and he's not been.
Bergwijn's been quite good.
He's been all right, hasn't he? But you think he's kind of like.
But I say we don't see much of him now because of with coronavirus.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true, yeah.
Right, guys. Sort of just
weird.
Sort of just wrapping it now because my battery's completely going. So any last things, T, before we wrap up at all?
I think it'll just be interesting to see how it pans out because there's a few teams in with a shout for fourth, like Bob says. I think all the way down to sort of like 10th. If one of those teams gets a run together, then you know they could really have been with a chance because it's definitely not over by any shot. I don't think Chelsea are looking. I think Chelsea are looking over the shoulders.
We're obviously in the best position because we're in. Our hands in it, but you could. Yeah, you just don't know. I almost wonder if in 10 years' time I'll look back on Mourinho a bit more fondly than I do now because at the minute I'm kind of a bit upset with him for going to Spurs, but he is our greatest ever manager. I can't deny what he's done for Chelsea, but I almost feel like why go to Spurs? And he did say he'd never manage him, and then he sort of went back on it as well.
Sorry, I know I've had my last turn.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I just wanted to get your opinion, Bob, on. It seems like there's been a couple of times when he's gone back to Chelsea, and he's clashed a little bit with the fans, or he's said something that maybe that's adding fuel to the fire as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
even when
we have given him some stick as well, but
it happens, doesn't it?
I feel like we give him a bit of banter and he's taking it a bit to heart. Do you know what I mean? I think if he'd never gone to Spurs, I'm sure he'd have gone down in. I mean, he is our greatest ever manager. I mean, hopefully someone can win more trophies than him, so he ain't anymore. But I don't know. He's one of them. I love Mourinho. I feel like there's two Mourinhos. I feel like the Mourinho that was at Chelsea when he first came. I still love that guy. I feel like the guy that came back wasn't. It's almost like when he called Dele Alli's brother. I feel like it's Mourinho's brother. So I think in time we'll probably forgive him a bit, but I think for now, at the minute, I think he's just got no morals, has he?
So in time, time might heal it, but for now, Tony Pulis won money.
Yeah. Well, he's not
the verdict
anymore. He's just Tony Pulis now.
So, thanks, guys. It's been a good one, and I said, don't forget all the football is back as of tomorrow, and I said during the week. So, thank you very much, guys. So, as ever, you can tweet at PL Seasons and email address at plseasons@gmail.com.
Hey!
So, as he said, Jose Mourinho went from the special one to the happy one to the miserable one to the not quite sure one. From all of us. Thank you very much, and see you all next time.
So long.